Welcome to Speaking of Sports. I'm your host, Jared Slack. This week I'm going to jump right into some playoff football for the NFL. Last week the Vikings upset the Saints. It was a great defensive game overall. And it's kind of sad to see Drew Brees go out that soon. And most people are rooting on him just because of his age. You don't know for a fact if he's coming back or not. This week the Vikings move on to play the 49ers in the first round, which I believe that the 49ers are a better team, but they're a young team. So they might have a lot of rust coming in since they had that first round bye. So it might take them a few possessions to get back on track to where they normally are. Also, Kirk Cousins is not good and does not play well in non-12 o'clock Sunday games. So keep that in mind. This is a game on Saturday at 3 o'clock. So we shall see what happens. I don't know what it is about him, but he's not good in non-12 o'clock Sunday games. Another game on Saturday is the Titans versus the Ravens. The Titans had upset the Patriots, which is it's crazy to say, and some people kind of knew it. And I kind of had a hunch on last episode. I kind of said they have a chance to do it. I didn't think they were going to do it the way they did. Tannehill passed for under 75 yards. It was 72 to be exact. Derrick Henry had 34 carries, 184 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown. He completely dominated that game by himself pretty much. It was crazy the way that guy ran the ball. Let's see. The Ravens are the obvious pick here, but if Derrick Henry has another game like he did, this could be a fairly close game if that Titans defense can do what they did against the Patriots. I know the Patriots didn't have as good of an offense as that the Patriots did, but we're just gonna have to see what happens. I am gonna be picking the Ravens this game. Remember last week in my picks, I did not do very well. I think I went 1 for 4, and I told you I'm not very good in the playoffs for some reason. So keep that in mind if you make your own picks. Sunday, you got the Texans versus the Chiefs. The Texans defeated the Bills last Saturday. That was a great defensive game. Went into overtime, and Deshaun Watson had a great play to the tight end to set them up in field goal range to win the game. And I'm going to pick the Chiefs in this game, like I said, since the Chiefs had the Chiefs had a bye. So this could be another thing like rust. This could be a rust issue. First couple of possessions might go 3 and out. You never know. They might come out slinging the ball, looking like they never stop. So we shall see how this goes. The Seahawks and Packers. It was an ugly win for the Seahawks last Sunday, but it was a good one. Russell Wilson always pulls something, pulls out some tricks. But against this Packers team, they got a good defense with 2 Smiths on the line, their defensive line. I don't think with all the injuries on the Seahawks side, they will be able to compete with the Packers. Both defenses are going to have to stop the quarterback, keep him contained in the pocket, because once they get out of that pocket, once they're released, they can make stuff happen on both sides of the ball. So defenses are key to this game. I'm going to go to some NFL news that happened this past week. The Panthers hire Matt Rule. I do apologize, Baylor, because y'all had such a great season last year, especially if you consider what your odds were at the start of the season. You weren't supposed to be a contender for another 2 to 3 years, if that. So he is a great coach. The Panthers are extremely excited about who they got, and I'm happy for him. Ron Rivera was a great head coach. That's just not what ownership wanted. But Matt Rule was more than likely the most sought after head coach in all of the NFL, and he was a college coach. So good for the Panthers. Maybe they move on with their quarterback that they have now. Maybe they try to Cam Newton for another year. They might possibly try to trade him. I heard Chicago might be wanting to get rid of Mitchell Trubisky. We'll see what they want to do. The Cowboys hire Mike McCarthy. It was a huge shock about the name because all year long you were hearing Lincoln Riley, you were hearing Matt Rule, you were hearing just other crazy college names. And Mike McCarthy is a the floor for Mike McCarthy is higher than Jason Garrett's floor, but we don't know what his ceiling is yet. And but there's people that say firing Jason Garrett automatically makes you a contender for in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, whatever you want to do. And that already off the bat, that's good. And Mike McCarthy, 2 years or a year and a half ago, he was fired from the Packers. He took the year off. He studied analytics. He was a Jason Garrett-minded coach before this past season. And all year long, he studied analytics. He studied offensive things. And he's always been an offensive-minded head coach because he's always been the play caller. So, I don't know. I think that they're going to keep Kellen Moore on this coaching staff. And he's still going to be the offensive coordinator and everything. And I think Monday through Saturday, Kellen Moore is going to be in charge of the offense. He's going to be the offensive coach. Then when it comes to Sunday, he's going to hand over his paperwork to Mike McCarthy and say, "Here you go, sir." And that is going to be his job. And as a young coordinator like that, that's probably best for him. He's going to learn more like that, and he's going to develop more like that. So we shall see how that works. And for Jason Garrett, for everyone who feels bad for him, don't, because he was a Cowboys coach for 10 years, made a lot of money with the organization, player and coach-wise. There's also potential for him to be the offensive coordinator for the Giants, which originally I thought that Jason Garrett was going to be the next head coach for the Giants. But before Garrett was released, the Giants hired a head coach in the name of Joe Judge. I don't personally know him I've never heard his name before he was hired. He was never a head coach prior to this. He was never a coordinator, offensive or defensive. He was a special teams coach for the Patriots. And I think they also said he was a wide receiver coach. And I do believe Bill Belichick just gave him that title so it looks better on his resume. So I don't know how well it's going to work out for the Giants, but we shall see. And how it looks on paper is hopefully how it turns out, because as a Cowboy fan, I hope the Giants don't do too well. Okay, now on to to some baseball. Texas Rangers, they signed Robinson Chirinos, catcher. He was with the team 2 years ago. He's familiar with the team. He's I wouldn't say he's a veteran player, but he is more veteran than what you would have if you don't sign somebody right now. And he's a better hitter in your lineup. And that is very good because Jose Trevino was going to be your starting catcher before signing Robinson Chirinos. And he's a good catcher, but he needs some more time to develop. And this year he'll be able to do that. He'll be able to be back up behind Robinson Chirinos and learn from him. And also, there's a couple more rumors. Nicholas Castellanos, right fielder for the Cubs. There is talks about Rangers picking him up. He's a free agent right now. This would be a huge deal. I looked it up. I think he for his career he bats around probably 275 to 280, I believe it was, which is great. He's a right fielder. You can probably move him a little bit around in the outfield and right field, left field, maybe a little center field. Me personally, I do not want Joey Gallo playing center field. He's too big-bodied. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he's got the arm strength. But I do not want Joey Gallo playing center field. You don't last as long. Even some of the greater center fielders, like Ken Griffey Jr., he didn't last as long because his body got tore up playing center field. If you put Gallo in right field, you still got the arm. You're not covering that much distance in right field, opposed to center field. Every once in a while, maybe put him at first base. If you want to, and you're out of options, you can re-sign Hunter Pence, put him at first base, teach him first base. And because he's an older guy that doesn't know where in the outfield he needs to be running around, because that's he's just going to be susceptible to more injuries. If you sign Nicholas Castellanos, you will be up for more than likely another trade. Whether that be, it's more than likely not going to be Sensu Chu, because this is his last year on his contract, I believe. and people aren't going to want to trade that for his contract for 1 year of having his rights to his contract. It more than likely it's going to be a one of your top outfielder prospects and higher, like in AAA or so, and but it might be Willie Calhoun, which I really like as a hitter. He's a great hitter, and if he could develop into a good defensive player, he would be a great all-around player because of his hitting. His hitting just bumps up his average so much. He played 82 games last year. If you multiplied his stuff times 2, because no, it was 83 games last year. If you multiply his stuff times 2, he had one of the best seasons last year than anyone. And I don't know how much you get back for him because of his position, but if there's a team out there that needs a designated hitter, get with them. Pick up a third baseman, pick up a first baseman, or just pick up some depth. Because as of right now, as this team sits, if your pitching stays healthy and everybody stays healthy, you are competing right now with the A's for a wild card spot. And I think that this is, as of right now, I think this is a 85. They're not a 90-win team right now. I think this is an 85-win team as of right now. Just a couple of games above 500. And that's great for this team. This was supposed to be it still is. This is your rebuilding time right now. Even though you're going into a new stadium, this is your rebuilding time. And if you get at 500 this year, you're well ahead of the game rebuilding wise. And by the way that upper management in the front office is signing players, getting Corey Kluber, signing some relief pitchers, stuff like that. They're in the rumors for free agents. It looks as if they do not want to go on full-blown rebuild. They want to win right now. And I don't know if that's because they're in a new stadium this year or not, but they want to win right now. And I think that it's great as a fan. It's great. It's temporary. Next 1 to 2 years, you're going to be competing right now, depending on what you get. But yes, it's temporary. If you get Castellanos, you are competing with the Astros. And me personally, I think it flip-flops this year. I think that the A's are going to get the first spot in the division. I think the Astros are going to get second, fighting for that wild card. Then I think the Rangers are going to come next. But if you get Castellanos, you're competing with the Astros. And because the Astros, they're losing some people. That's the bad thing about drafting so great. The Astros have drafted so great that they can't afford their players anymore. And I forgot the name. They're not Alex Bregman. I forgot. They're shortstop. They're going to have to lose him because they can't pay him. And what are you going to do with George Springer, Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman? What are you going to do with all these great players? They lost Garrett Cole. They lost Dallas Keuchel 2 years ago. And then, Justin Verlander, he's not going to have another season, another great season again. He can't get another Cy Young candidate award at the age of however old he is. He's a great player, and he was a great player, but I don't think you can keep up with how great he was last year. So I do believe that team is going to take a step down while the A's take a step up. And even with the Angels getting Anthony Rendon, I don't think that they can compete with even the Rangers. The Rangers have good pitching this year if they stay healthy. The Angels have zero pitching. They have a great lineup, a great batting lineup, but they have zero pitching. And so we'll see how the Rangers finish off this offseason free agent-wise. Also, there's still rumors about Nolan Arenado. If you were to add Nolan Arenado, you were to add Nicholas Castellanos, you are not fighting for a wild card spot. You're fighting with the top spot in the division. You're fighting with the New York Yankees. And that's That's the best team in the American League right now. I believe the best team in the American League right now is the New York Yankees, because the Astros took a step down, and that was their only competition last year, was the Astros. That's the only people that could compete with the Yankees last year, was the Astros. So if you were to get Nolan Arenado, get Nicholas Castellanos, you are competing with the New York Yankees for the pennant. And that's my opinion right there. Okay, now on to some NBA news. Joel Embiid is out with a torn ligament in his hand. He's going to have surgery. If you did not see it, it was pretty gruesome. His hand was one way, his finger was another way. It did not look good whatsoever. Also, stick with the Sixers. Possible Ben Simmons trade with the Warriors for D'Angelo Russell and some more stuff, another package. It does seem like the Warriors are tanking this year, and for their case, they did multiple trips to the NBA Finals. Lots of great talent that's came through here these past few years, and they could possibly be getting a #1 pick overall in the lottery draft. That is crazy, because it's coming back soon, unless they want to do an extended rehab. You'll have Klay Thompson back, Steph Curry back, Draymond Green, if he's still with the team, unless he gets traded, and then you have a #1 pick. And that's a team that's going to be back in the NBA Finals pretty soon, even with LeBron James in the West, even with Kawhi Leonard in the West, even with, this West is stacked. The West is such an amazing league right now. It's so much fun. The East, not so much. It's the Bucks. It's Giannis. That's it. The West is crazy. It's so much competition. It's fun to watch every single game whenever it's Western Conference competitors against each other. It's so much fun to watch. Also, LeBron takes the #1 spot over Luka in the All-Star voting, even though Luka has had an insane year. He has 6 35-point triple-doubles this year, 35-plus triple-doubles. That is leading LeBron and I forgot who it was. Who was the other person? Either way, the other two people have won. Luka has 6. I don't know if that's because teammates aren't hitting their stuff. If Luka is the man out there, it's not like he's a ball hog like James Harden or Russell Westbrook or anybody like that. He passes the ball. He's a great passer. He's like LeBron. LeBron loves to pass the ball, and he's great at it. And he's not hogging the ball whatsoever. But just watching Luka play, it's like it's hard to explain. And if you don't watch him and you hear me every week talk about him, please watch the guy. You're watching greatness happening right in front of you. It's so much fun. Every single time he touches the ball, something great happens. And he's smart at the game. He's LeBron smart at the game. LeBron is a genius when it comes to basketball. And Luka is like that. It's so much fun to watch, and I cannot wait for this Mavericks future. And I say that every week. That's so funny. Well, that's all I have for this week. Thank y'all for listening to Speaking of Sports. I've been your host, Jared Slack. Make sure to join me next Friday at 12 p.m. lunch hour for my podcast. Download the app, like it, share it. If you have any sports-related questions, comment below or message me personally. I'll try to get them answered on next week's show. Also at 12 p.m. Central Time, or 2 p.m. Central Time, sorry. Got my video on YouTube. Also do the same, like, comment, share. Thanks for listening to Speaking of Sports. I've been your host, Jared Slack.